Yes. Another This Week in Brave Exvius. Here we are back again. It's Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022, on the global server. I'm Tony Ortiz. How you doing? And I'm just going to go ahead and post out these links. I do stream this live over on Twitch. If you want to check me out, I'll try to remember to put my link in the bottom there, but it's just twitch.tv/that, what would you see right here, right there. That's it. And that's where I'm at. This week, let's just jump right on into it. It's a short week in terms of things to do. Not a whole lot going on. Units that aren't really worth pulling for the most part. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a minute. But I definitely want to jump in on a couple of key issues that I have in my notes over here. So we've got basically a new raid. As you can see, we've got orbs here. So this, I'm sure you guys were all doing this week. Super easy pool of units to pull from. Pretty simple. Really, it's just a pushover. You don't really have to gear for killers or anything specific. And the rewards are pretty standard. If you come on over here to the summoning, we'll take a quick look at what we had. Go to our limited time, go to our search, and here we view all boxes. So in box 1, I don't think there was anything special in box 1. We'll just scroll down and make sure. Yeah, nothing special in box 1. Box 2, I believe we had something. Was it at the top here? Nope, nothing in there. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It's right at the top. Silly me. Okay, so this specialized plant battle tactics was in here. Then we had anti-armor omega tactics, so a machine killer with some stats. I can't believe I forgot they put them at the top. That's how used to the bad UI I am. Then in box 3 we had this arm thing here with 100 LB fill and a 50 double hand. This is okay. I mean, it's 40. It's a 40 tack accessory. This is cool if you're like just coming back to the game and you're maybe a little bit behind on gear. And then we had these legs, which are 50% double hand and 50 attack. A little bit better. Really wish they were 100% double hand. That would be really good. And then lastly, we had this materia here, which is only 25% double hand, which I don't understand. And then 50% LB damage. This is kind of well behind the curve. I'm not really sure what they were trying to do with this. This should be pushed a little bit harder. This should be 75. And I think this would be equipable potentially on some units. But eventually you'll summon all your boxes and you'll get all that equipment. But the 50% killer to each killer is pretty decent. So, whenever they're giving out free 50% killers, that's good, especially if they've got other stats on them. They can fill holes in for you on units. We don't normally talk about that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's been a raid since I've done this series, so it was like the first one. I figured I'd talk about the rewards real quick. But yeah, sometimes, especially if you're newer, sometimes people don't realize you can farm killer materia of certain types by just upgrading the 1 and 2 1-star unit bases that have them. So what do we have here? We've got they're going to be at the top of my blue list actually. So we've got this guy who has Dragon Killer, so you can farm. This is his TMR. You've got this guy right here, Aquan Killer, and then you've got let's see, where's the dwarf guy? Here we go. And he has Stone Killer. So these 3 you can farm pretty regularly. They're 1-star units. Now, if you have old 3-star tickets, and this is one of the big arguments for adding the old 3-stars back in, not just the NVs that they're getting, but Edgar here has Machine Killer. So if you get old pulls of Edgar, you get the ability to farm out a bunch of Machine Killer without having to do any kind of Alchrist or limited time things. And there's some other useful materia here that you can farm as well. I believe there's another 3-star unit that has a good materia. I want to see if I have one of her. Yeah, right here. So this is the original Ferris. She has this Sildress protection here. And this gives you 50 Aqua and 50 Dragon. So this is pretty nice. This is actually a better farm than the other guys. It's less plentiful because you can't friend point summon up 5 to 12 of them whenever you want. Again, I think she's in the pool that's cycled away. So I don't know why this one's... I'm going to lock them, though, just in case. And then yeah, so if you are not quite hip on how to do that or that that's available, those 50% materia killers are pretty good. You know, they're nice to have. So just thought I'd point that out. Okay, let's talk about the units now. Ooh, I got a little bug here I gotta take care of. Hold on 1 second. All right, got him. Anyway, let's talk about the units. So yeah, go back to summon. Yeah, this one was tough this week. Roos, decent damage. It's been discussed. What's up, John? How you doing? Roos, decent damage. He's locked to water though, and you know it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough for these units because they have the same Xenogears issues that the new Xenogears units had. They shift into a form that has like it's not able to equip all the gear. So one thing they did do was they allowed these guys to equip weapons. So at least they can benefit from the double hand modifier. It's not even the stats necessarily. It's the TDH modifier, the 125 to 175 modifier on the damage. That's really important. So they fixed that with these guys and made sure that they could equip weapons. So at least you can put a two-handed sword on Roos and I think it's a two-handed fist on Nelica. But they also did not fix some other things. Like Nelica, she has equipment that for one of her rewards here. I think it's is it her STMR? Let me find. Where's the little thing where you find them and you can click on them and no, it's not treasure. Is it their banner? Is it this here? Nope. There's usually like a little thing where you can click on them and play with them. Is it in here? Yeah, here we go. Okay. So can you shift STMR? So okay, so Roos's STMR is armor. Now when he shifts, he can't actually wear armor. He can only equip the weapon he's allowed to equip. But the game has equip heavy armor materia. So what you can do, and you'll notice this on some Xenogears units, if you see any IDs or graphs on your friends list laying around, if you're friends with me, you'll see my graph. They have equipped like clothes on, then I can give them the ruler robe. So even though this armor is not equipable by his shift form on its own, because he can't equip armor, you can give him materia to equip that, and that kind of gets around it. So if you think this item is good enough, you can sacrifice a materia slot to give it to him. And 500 flat attack is worth a materia slot. We give any unit that has 500 flat attack or better and a materia slot, we always equip that. So like, you know, Dai and the Xenogears units. Actually, the Xenogears units have two different ones, one from each character, one from it and Graph. You know, you want to leave room for killers, but this is definitely worth equipping. And you get another 150 attack in the armor itself, and you get this limit fill rate, which is maybe not relevant, but it's there. So this is definitely worth equipping a materia for. Let me click over here to Nalika. Okay, so she has the same setup, but her STMR is a light armor, which is in between the robe and the heavy armor. And this, I believe, is the only item slot in the game that you can't, there's no equipped materia for. So there's literally no way to get her to be able to wear this in her shift form, which is a massive, massive oversight. If you're going to bring this unit to global and you want to sell her, you have to have this fixed. You either got to give us a way to equip light armor with the materia, just put it in the game and give it to everybody for free, I don't know. Or give her shift form, the ability to equip any light armor, like a materia would. Because it's bizarre to me that this was an issue in JP. And I believe JP eventually got a way to equip light armor and enable it on units. Don't correct me, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't take that as the word of the truth there. I believe that that's what happened. But at launch, this was a problem for them, and then they corrected it afterwards. Why Global, knowing this was coming 6 months ago, presumably, took 0 steps to get this ready to not have the same issue on launch for this unit here, especially considering how narrow these units are and their usefulness. Oh boy, it's tough. It's very tough. It's the kind of thing that doesn't, we get that good anniversary, and then there's little things like this. There's the bugs with the staff, the Clash Wheel staff. There's the extended maintenance, the other stuff not getting fixed. It just kind of in the back of a player's mind makes me worry a little bit about where we're headed, or maybe this is intentional. Maybe they're not really focused on these units, and it's all about the collabs and the Clash of Wills, and they know it, and they're not going to sink any time into it. They're spending all their time doing that stuff. I mean, if that's the case, okay. I just wish there would be slightly more transparency on that. And I wish there'd be slightly reduced lapis amounts for pulling on these banners, because if the company knows that these aren't going to be used, and they're not going to put any effort into making them usable at all, then why charge us as much lapis and encourage more people to actually pull the units that they like, even though they know they're not going to be super useful? And one of the problems with these two units is that they're not going to be super useful, because they're anything that doesn't have morale skills is basically not going to ever find its way into Clash of Wills. It might find its way into one clash if it's maybe like a premium unit and you have EX3 and it's like the week after the premium unit came out. Maybe it finds its way in. But the only premium unit that's finding their way into Clash are the two premium units that are carrying morale abilities. Um, maybe Sylvie's card and the staff will help with that a little bit in the future, but you're only maybe looking at one unit ever getting into Clash, and that's unfortunate. It really is. I really wish there was a way for us to to get these units decent enough to be in Clash, or at least be considered to be used. But if they're gonna keep it this way, you got to give players something. And coming up, even in Dark Visions, Roos will have some uses, because he doesn't fall off as hard as Nalika does. Nalika falls off super hard because the way she works, her main damage is tied to the two races that she's great against. I think it's Machine and Stone, and that's coming up in the Dark Visions tomorrow. The problem is, for the next 6 months afterwards, if we follow JP's same schedule of Dark Visions and Vision World, there will not be a boss after the one that we get tomorrow that she will ever be used on ever again. So that's the real big problem with her. So if you pull for her, she's literally only going to be used in one fight, and it's coming tomorrow. So hey Frank, what's up, man? Yeah, Black Desert. I was playing it a little bit. The new season just started and a new patch came in. It's all right. I'll talk about it more when we're done with the Brave Exvius show, if you want to stick around. And my impressions on it for sure. But this goes up to YouTube, so I don't want to waste too much time on it at the moment. But I'll definitely talk about it after. Yeah, so the units this week, I'd strongly recommend not pulling. It's just unfortunate. Like, they look cool. I really like the units that shift into mechs. Like, I just think it looks awesome. Like, this looks great. This reminds me of Xenogears. I love Xenogears. Like, I think these things are cool. I'd love to pull for them, but they just aren't useful. And in this economy, we can't be pulling for units that just won't be used anywhere, except for maybe one fight somewhere, where the rewards don't even matter. Speaking of which, Dark Vision's coming out tomorrow. Yeah, we're getting some new upgrades to weapons, but none of those weapons are useful. So again, you're kind of stabbing yourselves twice in the foot, because you pull on this unit, you use it for the Dark Visions coming tomorrow, but you can't use it for any of the next 5 Dark Visions that are coming up, or Vision Worlds, and then also you can't buy the actual good rewards from Dark Visions because we don't have them yet, and we probably won't for another 4 to 6 months anyway, if that even. So yeah, it's just not worth the lapis when you look at what's going on here. Anyway, I would talk about Noreen's NBA, but there's really nothing to talk about. She's a raid unit, and that's it. She does nothing else. It's pretty bad, and it's pretty sad. I don't know any other way to break that one down, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead and send this guy. Okay, so that's that. Units for this week. There was a fight. There was another fight. What was it? Consumed Omega Spawn. Yeah, what did I do to beat this? I'm trying to remember. Let's take a look at my teams real quick. That doesn't look like what I used. That's my Venge. That's my Venge team. This is the team I'm using for the raid. Maybe I did use this. Oh yeah, it's weak to water, right? Yeah, I used this team without Zon, basically. Really easy to clear. Starlight Atlanta with her intrinsic ability. Kaito, Cacteria giving you the two 89% breaks. Um, all these units are already capable of water. Big water busts from Kaito. Pretty simple. Chow covers. There's nothing to it. Um, I would say anybody use anybody's strats out there if you still need to clear the fight. It's saying 450 difficulty. The stats on it are really really low. Um, so yeah, there you go on that. Not much to report there. A lot of people not putting their bonus units in the event slot 1 or the favorite slot. I don't know why. I've got Chizuru, I think, and Wilk, both of them in my 2 slots that are um, available to use for this stuff. Here's a raid run. It has no HP. You just blow it away in 1 turn. It's over. So that's that. There was nothing else to do this week. Item World was still open. I don't know if I finished running an item through mine. I was trying to upgrade one of my TWIBE swords to be really good, just in case that he's used tomorrow. I don't know where I was with it though. Let me take a look. So Item World is still on from last week. Oh yeah, I'm capped out here. So I'd say definitely go ahead and make sure you finish this up tonight before we go down for maintenance. Finish running through whatever items you needed to get done. Blow your orbs. I have like 9,000 orbs. I wish I was exaggerating, but I think I do actually literally have 9,000 orbs to refill with. So yeah, finish this off. And if you're watching this tomorrow, thankfully another Item World is gone, and we don't have to deal with this crap anymore for another couple weeks. But let's finish it up by talking about one of the big topics of this week. I believe it was raised by some of the people in kind of not only in concert with the units from this week, but the Final Fantasy VII units coming in JP, Cloud in particular being premium, so on and so forth. But thinking about how not used he might be by the time he gets here to global, because he's not going to have any kind of use in Clash Wills. And it's just kind of sad because a lot of us jumped into this game because we like Final Fantasy characters, and we can't even use any of our favorite Final Fantasy characters in the main content that we play in the game. And that's just unfortunate. I do like what they're doing with some of the items providing morale. I like what they're doing with like the Sylvie's Vision card generating morale. It's kind of cool how they're adding vision cards with attacks on them. Like, so there's the vision card that has the EN frames. It's the Hio card, I believe. It has gives you an EN attack so that you can chain with other families. So you can take a unit you like that doesn't have like Bolting Strike or EN into something and potentially still chain with them. I just don't think that they're doing enough to buff the old units or give us new Final Fantasy units that are worth pulling for. And I think we're going to see the same kind of hesitation to pull on Final Fantasy X, even though it's coming with a Vision World and with like a crazy amount of cool free stuff. At the end of the day, your Titus might be EX3 and you still might not be taking him to the next 3 Clash Wills. And that's just terrible, right? It's just terrible, especially because I believe he's also a premium unit. I just wish there was something else that they could do to help these units out. I mean, I don't know if intrinsic abilities are the answer. They've been cool. I appreciate what they're attempting to do with intrinsic abilities. I question the method. I question that why does it take a materia slot away from a bad unit to bring it up to being a decent unit or a great unit even? Shouldn't they just get that buff in their kit? Like, wouldn't that just make way more sense? Like, give them that buff in their kit. They're a global unit anyway. None of the units that have got an intrinsic ability yet are, units from JP. They're all global units. I don't know why instead of making a materia that we have to write down the name of so that we can search for it or favorite it so it's always at the top or whatever, that doesn't have like a little outline like a TMR and STMR would. I don't understand that design decision. I guess maybe it's too hard to code in, but I feel like if you're coding a new materia into the game and it's taking up an item slot and you're giving it away to players or having them earn it through a battle, why can't you just have that ability on the unit itself and have them go through the battle to unlock it or give it to them for free or whatever? It's a really, really odd design decision. I don't understand it whatsoever. It's better than nothing. I think we need something to that effect for the other units. We need, because you want to play with Final Fantasy 7 units. You want to play with Final Fantasy 6 units. You want to play with Final Fantasy, I don't know, 14 units that are super old, or Final Fantasy Tactics units that deserve their NV remakes, right? I don't want to. I want an NV Tactics banner, but I don't want it to be dead on arrival when it comes to global either. I want to use the units. I want them to have their time in the sun like every other units that comes out should, or has the potential to at least. And I just don't see how that's ever going to be possible if we don't course correct on this at some point. So that was a pretty big topic this week. A lot of the content creators are talking about that. I'm 100% on board. I agree. I'd strongly recommend checking some of those videos out. They bring a lot more seasoned veteran perspective to it than me. I mean, I think I've only got 3 or 4 years in the 6 years of this game being played. I definitely didn't play for a couple years there in the middle. And even when I started, I wasn't super serious. So, yeah, I mean, but I 100% agree with them on this. They're definitely right. I got back into it not only because this game respects my time more than any other mobile game does, and gives me weeks off like this, which I actually do enjoy. It's nice to not have to grind a mobile game for 8 hours a day. Especially if you get a more active job, you can't work from home anymore, shit like that. I appreciate that actually. But if I can still log in once a day and have a little fun and then log out, I actually value that a lot. So that's the main reason I came back. But the other reason is because of the intellectual property. Like a lot of these games, not so much the newer ones, but all the old ones, I absolutely love, and I love the characters. I like the old school pixel art, the sprite work. I really appreciate that, and I really like what they can do with it, and how great they make it look despite the limitations of this kind of art. Especially in releasing a new unit every week, which is definitely not, or a couple even. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 new units every week, and I appreciate that and how difficult it is to keep that up. But the thing is, if you're gonna cut corners, I'd rather have you cut the corners like sparingly and cut them harder less often instead of cutting them all the time, and be transparent about with us about how that's going to work, so we can make the best decisions with our resources that we have. And I just don't think that's been done. I think the anniversary was strong, but we're fading out quickly, and I hope that some of this is addressed. But yeah, that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about. Just like the lack of buffs on global for the old units. That the intrinsic ability thing is not a bad way to address it, but I feel like it's not the right way to address it. If that's all we get, I'd take it. But I really think that taking a materia slot away from these units and not having it fit into the UI and so on, like I discussed before, I think that's really cutting a lot of corners, and it's not going to do new players any favors or anything like that. And that's really where I'm concerned. I'm concerned when you see people leave the game, especially important and influential people that make good content. You have to worry about them having new players come in to replenish, the excitement and the interest in the game. And if we're not creating this path for those people to come in and for new people to join up, I just worry about the long-term sustainability of the game. And I really don't want it to go anywhere, because I see mobile games that are 8 or 9 years old and they're still going strong. They're still having like global tournaments and stuff for their PvP, even though it's terrible. But people just love the game, so they they're into it anyway. I don't want Final Fantasy Brave Exvius to go anywhere because it's the only mobile game right now I actually enjoy. Um, but I at the same time I gotta throw out what I think that we can do or that should be done to correct the problems. And I'm cautious because I don't see a similar line of thinking or at least a similar line of action coming from the developers. Maybe they don't have the budget to do it. Maybe they don't have the resources for whatever reason. But I know Anniversary got a lot of people back into it, and this is time to capitalize. And I think that 2 dead weeks in a row it's tough. It's tough to do. Well, technically 3 dead weeks in a row, I guess. Really is probably what's going to happen because I don't see anything good coming out next Thursday either. I see maybe some good stuff coming out on the 4th, or I mean, like we're not getting anything good tomorrow on the 4th. I don't see anything coming out the week after that that's going to be impressive. I think the next unit we're going to be looking at for serious pulls is the Clash unit. So yeah, nothing in between. It's really tough week. Uh, just a side personal note, it was a pretty tough couple days for me, but powered through it. Um, not tough like just a lot of things that were trying to invoke old bad habits, and I had to have the mental capacity to shrug those things off and sit and think and stay calm and reason through them and deal with them, and they're dealt with. And even though I'm not excited about what's going on in the game right now, I made a commitment to do this every week, and I'm here doing it. And talking about the game is something I still enjoy, and I'm gonna keep doing it. So no matter what, if the power is not out and I can stream, uh, I will be doing the show. So no matter if we have a dead week or not. So even though we got a shorter episode this week, it's going to go up here on YouTube. Thanks for everybody tuning in on YouTube. Like I said, I'll try to have some links below. Since we didn't really talk about any strats or anything this week, I won't have many links to put in the description or refer you to other videos for clears I might have used, since they were so easy. But what I'll do is I'll put a link in there to my stream on Twitch. And if you want to come out and hang out live, please check that out. The Twitch stream has every other link in it as well. So you can just scroll down the channel page. All the info's in there. And vice versa. That Twitch page links here to the YouTube and everything like that too. So appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. The Twitch schedule is pretty accurate. I play other stuff too. And right now we're playing a lot of different stuff. So if you're here on the live stream, you want to stick around and we'll talk about some other games. We might even play some other games. It depends. But yeah, you can usually catch me Wednesday night doing this show and Sunday night doing whatever is interesting at the time. So be on the lookout for Final Fantasy 14 to start back up soon. When that new 6.2 patch hits, we're probably going to get into that for sure. I have been wanting to play for a month or two now. World travel's in the game, so if you're interested in Final Fantasy, if you're in North America, drop me a line and maybe I will visit your realm and we'll run some dungeons or something. So thanks for everybody for hanging out with us today. For those of you live on Twitch, stream's going to go down and come right back up. And thanks everybody for watching on YouTube. We'll see you next week, this week in Brave Exvius.